What's up, guys? We back with another video, man. I haven't did a movie review in a long time, but y'all know I'm a huge Superman fan, and I watched the movie last night, Monday night. I should have watched the opening night, but y'all know how stuff goes. Hey, things come up, man. But anyway, guys, as a huge Superman fan, I was excited for this movie. I was ready for this movie until I seen the trailers. When I seen the trailers, I'm like, what the freak are they doing, bro? Like, Superman ain't supposed to be whiny. He ain't supposed to be complaining. He's supposed to be strong. What the heck is going on? So I was kind of turned off from the movie. I'm like, yo, what the heck are they doing? I'm thinking it's that same narrative that they've been doing for every other movie. Oh, make the man look weak. Here we go with this. That was me coming into the movie. So that was my perception of, man, they really gonna nerf Superman. He's supposed to be the Superman. But me actually going to the movie and seeing the reason why they did that, it made it it made me understand, and it made me realize that it was a testament to the villain in the movie. And I'm not going to spoil any of the characters. Obviously, y'all know if it's a Superman movie, Superman, Lois Lane, Lex Luthor. But obviously, there are other characters in the movie. But I just feel like it was a testament to Lex Luthor. This was the smartest, strongest Lex Luthor I've ever seen, to me, in a Superman movie. Shout out to the other guy back with the Christopher Reeves days. Christopher Reeves obviously the best Superman ever. Even the Brandon Roof. Brandon Roof don't get him much credit. That was the Superman I grew up with. Obviously, I'm 30 years old. Like I didn't grow up with Christopher Reeves, but I seen the movies. But me being alive in the time, Brandon Roof, I seen that movie twice in the theaters, and I used to watch it all the time on HBO when back in the days and stuff like that. So it really shows that in this movie, Lex Luthor, it's a different time period. Back then the technology wasn't as advanced. Superman can just dominate. Superman, boom, boom, boom. Even with the Brandon Roof area, even though it was obviously a few years ago, technology has advanced since then. I think back then we was on DVDs. Now we streaming. You know what I'm saying? So it just shows that over the years, Superman is always going to be strong, but he's not going to be as strong as he was back then because technology has advanced. There's different things, and when I seen the trailer, I'm like, yo, why is he weak? But the movie explains exactly why he's weak, and I love that. But he's still strong, but is a reason why he's weak. He's going through different stuff. Like I said, no spoilers, but it really shows what he's going through. Like, you never really seen an emotional Superman because they always show him as a strong, but he still has a mind. He still has he still has a soul. I guess you know what I'm saying. It really showed what's going on. So with that being said, I actually really enjoyed this movie, man. I feel like it's a different story than all the other ones, and I feel like the only reason why people wouldn't like the movie is because they're trying to compare it to another Superman. And obviously, I know people are like, "Oh, yo, they did Henry Cavill wrong." Hey, look, I get all of that, and a lot of people didn't want this movie to succeed in the first place because of that. But if you look at the different time periods of the movies, this is probably the most realistic Superman because of the technology we have nowadays. Superman may think like, oh shoot, I'm strong, I'm brown, I'm doing all this other stuff. But if somebody already knows your weakness, if somebody knows what's going on, and somebody doing this, somebody doing that, you're not gonna have that dominant fight that you used to doing. There's always gonna be somebody that's smarter than you, and then it's a whole thing in the movie. It's always gonna have somebody gonna have brain power over your brain. So, um, I like how they expressed that. Like I said, the actor did a great job. I didn't think he was gonna do a good job, but the dude that played Lex Luthor, that played Beast and X Men, he did a phenomenal job, man. That A1 scene was freaking nuts. He was like A1, A1. Yo, that scene was freaking sick. I love that scene so much. Lois Lane, she was pretty cool. She wasn't really the I don't know. She was there, but as far as the prettiest Lois Lane, back then with Christopher Reeves, that had to be the prettiest Lois Lane, man. Good stuff. And even the one that Brandon Roof has, she was very pretty as well. But it wasn't really a lot of Clark Kent in the movie. I'll just say it like that. It was obviously more characters. I won't spoil it just in case that y'all, you know. But I think it was a great movie. The special effects was amazing. The best fight scenes I ever seen in a Superman movie. Um, I just think it was cool. I feel like even though Superman for some reason in this movie wasn't my favorite character, I feel like it still was a Superman movie. If you don't compare it to any other and you just accept the story for what it is, you will realize that this was a great movie. And that's my thing. If y'all like, oh shoot, I don't know if I'm gonna go see this movie, man. I heard this, I heard that. Just go into it with an open mind and realize that we in a different time period. We in a different zone. This is exactly how it would go down if it would happen in real life. And people are, I hear a lot of stuff talking about, oh man, he's a comedy relief. Superman himself in this movie, to me, he wasn't a comic relief. It was pretty much people around him, and a lot of people was like, "Oh, Crypto, the dog and stuff like that." Once you really think about it, because I was annoyed by the trailer as well. I'm like, "Yo, what the frick is this? What the heck is going on? Why are you jumping on them?" But you had to think about this. If you saw the trailers, Superman, in my opinion, probably has never got destroyed like that by looking at the trailers ever. So Crypto jumping on him and playing around with him, probably think he just playing. Like Superman can't get hurt, even though obviously dogs can tell and stuff like that. But he's still a dog. He's still a young dog. He's still joking around, and that's my whole take on that. At first, I thought it was gonna be like, man, what the freak is this? But it's a dog at the end of the day, and he's probably thinking that Superman was just playing around. So, but I think it's great, and the reason, like I said, the reason why he's banged up, why he's hurt, and everything that's going on, it's all explained in the movie. And I'm glad I gave it a try. I'm glad, as a Superman fan, I'm happy. I feel like this movie could have been longer though, because once you get into it, it's like, man, I want to see more of Superman. You know what I'm saying? Once you, I mean, he go obviously, as you see from the trailers, it's gonna be some moments where obviously he gets destroyed, but I feel like the only thing more, I would have seen him just really just go crazy. But he had his moments. He had his emotional moments. The scenes was cool. Like I said, the special effects was cool. The characters, everyone around them. I think they did a great job, and I'm excited. I went to go see the movie. I'm glad that the trailers. I told you I didn't like the trailers, but I'm glad that they explained something that I didn't like about it, and they made it make sense. Only because we're in a different time period, and you got to realize that the villain is as smart as he's ever been. So that makes sense of why Superman isn't just straight dominant as what he is. So, in my opinion, I would say anybody go see this movie and don't compare it to another Superman. If y'all be like, oh, well, I like Henry Cavill, but that's cool. And even think about it. Let me just say it like this. I remember watching all the Christopher Reeve Superman as a young kid, and I was like, yo, this is awesome, man. Even his whole Christopher Reeve, his movement when he put the glasses on, how he crouches down, and when he takes them off, that whole acting was just amazing. Brandon Routh, I told you I grew up with that. So even me growing up, and when Man of Steel came out, I remember as a kid, I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I didn't like Man of Steel when it came out because of the time period, because what I was used to with the whole Boy Scout, with the whole, flying through the air, saving the day, the whole thing. So I didn't really get into Man of Steel. But if I probably watch it now, I would like it because I see a different version of Superman. So to me, back then, I'm like, yo, what the freak is this? I'm used to the save the day, the comic type style villains and, the little Superman theme, flying out and stuff like that. Because Brandon Routh to me was the closest to the style of Christopher Reeves. But when Henry Cavill, he kind of changed the whole, landscape. Even though it was probably great, it was a good movie, it just wasn't the same style. So back then, I didn't like it because it was different. But that doesn't mean it was a bad movie. But it was just different to me, so I would think it's bad. And that's what I feel like the same thing with this movie is. It's a great movie, but when you try to put it in the same way as you saw someone else, you would think it's a bad movie, but it's actually really good, and it's a great story, and the actors did a really good job. And it's just funny, some of the other characters, that played, the people that played certain characters also played in Marvel movies. Shout out to the Derwin dude, X-Men. It's funny, freaking Dora the Explorer's up in here, bro. But anyway, man, I think it was great. I'm happy that I went. The only thing that was stupid, and I'm not going to mention who it is, a certain character shows up in the end of the movie and acts a certain way, I thought that was dumb. I thought that was stupid. They could have left that out. But for the most part, it felt like a Superman movie. I'm satisfied with it. The characters, they did a great job. You know, Perry, Jimmy, all of them. And there was a certain lady, bro. Yo, y'all know what I'm talking about, bro. That joint was funny, bro. They know what they was doing when they put that lady in the movie, bro. That lady looked better than Lois Lane, man. That joint was funny. Um, it was crazy when I'm really thinking about it. Every woman that was in this movie looked better than Lois Lane. So I don't know what that was about. I don't know if they was doing that on purpose, but Superman loves him some freaking Lois Lane, bro. But it's like that for some reason nowadays, in movies. Um, so yeah. Anyway, it was pretty cool. But that's like a little small thing. That's a little. It don't have nothing to do with the actress did a great job. But just if you want to compare, like everybody always does, comparing to other Lois Lanes and comparing to other women in the movie, that's the woman he's crazy about. It's like, yo, do you see this girl? But anyway, man, I'm trying to think about anything else. But there was only one thing, like I said, I didn't like, and that was how they did a certain character at the end of the movie. I thought that was just dumb. But other than that, I'm happy. I'm a happy Superman fan. Y'all should go see the movie. Y'all should go with an open eye and just like it for what it is and realize that we're in a different time period than we was back then. Superman will not be as dominant or not be as crazy because we are more advanced and because the studying that Lex has done. So go ahead and check it out. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Did y'all like the movie? Would y'all go see it again? To me, I don't think it's a classic type movie. Like, I don't know if people consider it a good movie. Like, oh, that was a classic. I don't think it was a classic, but I feel like it'll be something that I can be like, I want to see something more. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I don't know, never want to see that dude play Superman again. I want to see where it goes. You know what I'm saying? So, like, subscribe, all that stuff. I'm out.